This program is recorded and presented by Chippewa Valley Community Television.
Welcome to From the Newsroom, a production of the Western Wisconsin Press Club in cooperation with Chippewa Valley Community TV. I'm Henry Lippold, Professor Emeritus of Communication and Journalism at the UW-Eau Claire and a member of the Press Club. But it gives me great pleasure today to introduce Felix Cisneros from Nicaragua, a 1997 communication and journalism graduate of the UW-Eau Claire, and now a new recipient of an Alumni Distinguished Achievement Award that recognizes distinguished service to the community, state, or nation that brings credit upon the recipient and the university. Full disclosure, Felix was a student of mine way back in those years.
Yes, I remember.
It's good to see him again.
Nice to see you, sir.
Congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Well, what drew you up here from Nicaragua to go to school?
Well, thank you for the time to come back again, to Eau Claire and to my university, The University of Claire, I all the time says it is in my heart. I passed my best time here. I arrived in January 1995. It was a little cultural shock because I came from a country that is all the time 80 or 85 degrees. When I arrived here, it was minus 10. So it was like when they opened the door of the airplane, it was like going to the refrigerators. And I didn't speak English when I arrived. I got a scholarship, Fulbright scholarship, and it was a special program for Central American countries. And I was part of the group that came to Eau Claire. So I didn't choose to come to Eau Claire, really. The program chose what was the best university to have the better journalism program. It was Eau Claire. They were right.
Right.
Yes, they were really
Thank
right
you.
about that. So when I came here, it was a learning process. I had to learn the language very fast. And I had to get engaged with my major, with my classes. It was a very tough time, but also, and in Wisconsin, I don't know now, but 21 years ago actually, few people speak Spanish. And also, if I want to listen any TV show in Spanish, there were nothing at all. It was just one program at 3 in the morning, 3 a.m. They used to put like a half hour for each language, French, in English, Italy, Portuguese, and they have Spanish, half hour. So, but I was lucky to came to Eau Claire because Eau Claire have a very good education. The university really changed my life. It was like a before and after Eau Claire. I took, for example, your methods, how you teach journalism for televisions and put students to work instead of in the classroom studying books. Go to the street and do news and report.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to learn journalism. It's not on the board that you can write anything. So it was a very good experience for me and for my other classmates. And I graduated in 1997 in May, and I come back today because I got an award achievement. My whole family was the Bors family, Ada Bors and Adam Bors. Wonderful people, like most all people who live in Eau Claire. And I have the opportunity to honor all the people that helped me to go through the whole process, that also helped me to grow in life, and and now I can provide a better future for my sons and my daughters too. So I'm grateful for all the opportunity that I got here, Henry.
Well, can you remember some of the stories you might have done?
Yeah, I remember we were covering the elections.
Yep.
Also, when the Packers won the championship, I was 1996, if I
Yes,
can remember.
1996.
So it was a lot of fun, you know. And also the female basketball team was very good.
Mhm.
They made the final at that year.
Yes.
They were winning the final game in the national championship, and they lost in the last quarter, I think.
Yes, and then in the last minute.
In the last minutes, but it was an amazing season for that team, for Eau Claire team. You know,
They haven't had that quite a degree of success.
So I was
recently.
lucky. I was
So
lucky
you were
too.
lucky, right? But the Packers have been winning.
Yeah, the
Pretty
Packers.
good. So can you watch those games?
Yes, you know, now with the cables and televisions, when I returned to Nicaragua, because few people really in Nicaragua understand what is the football game, because we play soccer or we play baseball or other sport, but the American football is not common. So during that time, they asked me if I can narrate a football game for an analyst, and I did it. The final game, I forgot how do you call the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
The
yes,
Super Bowl.
oh, yeah.
So I used to narrate the Super Bowl for 3 or 4 years at Channel 2 when I was working there, because nobody understand and explain to the people what was 1 and 10 or 2 and 8, something like that. It was kind of, it was a lot of fun, and I learned here. And I remember, Henry, the first month I was here, actually in summer, when we can play outside, they invited to play football, and I forgot about the football, American football, something, because we call football soccer.
Soccer.
So I went to play soccer in my mind. When I arrived there, it was American football. They almost killed me. You know, it was like, it was fun. It was a lot of fun years. Really.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time while you're here, and then you went back to Nicaragua,
Yes.
and you got a job.
Yes, I got a job. I get into television. I worked for 6.5 years in Channel 2, is a national television. I was a reporter. I was a news producer, and I also was anchoring the newscast at 10 p.m. We got 4 newscasts during the day, 6:30 in the morning, 12, 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. So I was working from 2 to 11 p.m. because I was teaching journalists in the morning at the university. So my day started at 7 a.m. until 12, until noon, and I went to the TV station and started working from 2 to 11 because I had to get ready the morning newscast for the next day. But after that, I went to Channel 12, is also a national television, and I became the news director there. I used to have my own TV show called Punto de Vista con Felix Cisneros, like a Felix Cisneros viewpoint.
Oh, my goodness, like a commentator.
Exactly, a commentator. It was a prime time, Sunday, 8 p.m., and I interview a lot of people, a lot of presidents, congressmen, congresswomen, foreign minister, etc. It was a good time.
I noticed one was Colin Powell.
Yeah, Colin Powell came to Nicaragua in 2004, and during his visit to Nicaragua, I had the opportunity to interview him. I am the only journalist in Nicaragua that had interviewed any state secretary of the United States. It was live. Nobody knew it about that because they told me, the U.S. Embassy folks told me, no, do you want to interview somebody that's came from the U.S. government? Is a big guy. They didn't tell me who was it, but I found out. And they also, do you want to transmit live? For sure, you know, it's news.
Yeah.
And we put and we did it. I got almost 12 minutes talking about politics, economic, and what was his trip main objective during that time. Yeah, it was part of my experience.
Well, you mentioned politics. Here in the United States, we heard about a lot of goings-on, especially in the 80s in Nicaragua, and strife and sometimes bloody war. How are things now?
There are a lot of changes, and I do not want to go into too much, but I can mention that, you know, for the whole region during the 80s, not only Nicaragua, but also in El Salvador and Guatemala, Nicaragua, there were a lot of social problems, protests, war, that affect the development of these countries and their people. But since 1990, it is peaceful in Nicaragua. We are maybe the safest country in the region, maybe just close to Costa Rica. There is not kidnapping, for example, in the country. You can travel anywhere you want. It's better than El Salvador or Guatemala that have some kind of social problems. But things are going okay now, you know, it's with other issues to worry about, like the world climate change that is affecting, the El Niño and La Niña affecting in both ways, or it's too much rain or it's the lack of rain. And that is a world situation, it's not only for Nicaragua. So there is, thanks God, there is no more war. You know, it's something good to have it.
Now, recently, young people, children, were being moved out of the Central America and coming up to the United States. Do they have that kind of immigration in Nicaragua?
That phenomenon is more for Guatemala, El Salvador, and maybe Honduras, but not for Nicaragua. When I was working as a journalist for Channel 2, I traveled twice to United States, to the border, to Phoenix in Arizona and Texas, and also to San Diego in California, to cover what was going on there, because it was a lot of problem with the immigrations. And I went to the facilities where they put the immigrants in detention centers, and I found few Nicaraguans, like 5 Nicaraguans among the whole populations. So that child situations, kids traveling alone to the United States, was not exactly the Nicaraguan problem. It was more related to the other countries.
Would Nicaraguans perhaps go to Costa Rica or to Panama?
It is true. And because it's easy to cross the border, you just can ask for a visa, for Costa Rican visa, and you can go there and you know, there are 600,000 Nicaraguans living in Costa Rica. It's a good percent. A lot of them become Costa Rican after all, you know. It's true. Part of the situation is true. It's easy to go to Costa Rica and also to Panama with the big canal construction. So it could be one of the reasons that's why there is not many Nicaraguans traveling to U.S. There are some, of course, but not many.
Well, now I'd like to ask you about your long-time job in the embassy, and to find out exactly what you do.
Well, you know, in 2005, I joined my current job at the U.S. Embassy in Managua, Nicaragua. I am the senior press specialist. This is like I going from one side of the street to another side of the street, such as journalist, because now I am facing journalists requesting interview to us. And basically we are focused working with the local journalists. So all the Nicaraguan journalists requesting interview not only the ambassador of the United States, but also any officers that they want to interview. Could be the press attaché, or could be the economic attaché, or the political counselor. Could be anyone. The president of the USAID also in Nicaragua.
What's that?
USAID is the Foreign assistant office that promote education and investment in the countryside, helping farmers and people to develop. So it's a big program. So it's a lot of news, and actually has been very active because it's a lot of relationship between both countries. And I was talking during my speech a few days ago during the luncheon here at the university, that the good thing, the important thing is the relationship between people to people. There is a lot of social organization from US, like a doctors, church organizations that travel to Nicaragua to help people, to build houses, to help them to provide medical assistance. So it's a lot of good relationship, and I'm not talking about government to government. I'm talking about society to society, people to people directly. They do not go through the U.S. Embassy, for example. They go directly. They find out that any community needs help, and they just go there, you know.
But it sounds like you talk to the reporters and get the news from reporters and give it to somebody else. I don't still get it.
Yeah, my office is the public diplomacy office. Deal with different areas. One of the area is press. Any inquiry from the media, from the press, for the media outlets, we can handle out. But also is education programs. If one Nicaraguan wants to study in the United States, so we support them. We provide all the information. And there is also a lot of scholarship programs that are offered to Nicaraguans that have leadership potentials, that they can come to the United States and study here. But it's also an exchange program. So a lot of U.S. citizens can travel to Nicaragua and study there for 1 semester, 1 year, do a research. So 714 Nicaraguans has come to the United States to study here a master's degree, a doctoral degree. And 156 U.S. citizens have traveled to Nicaragua to study there. So my office also deals with the issue. So anything public related to the publics, we are the first contact with them. Yeah.
Is there a free press in Nicaragua? Is there any restrictions on what you can talk about?
Well, like I said before, I don't want to get into that because I just came for a personal reason, but I think like in any part of the world, such as journalists, we all the time are in the middle of where people do not want us. They
don't know what?
Journalist is not the first person that anybody want to see. Like journalists do not have friends because they have to report the truth. That's normal everywhere.
Right.
So it's the same in Nicaragua too. Yeah.
Well, now here in the States, are you getting around and going places, doing things?
Yeah. After 21 years, I came this week with my wife, and my wife knew a little bit about Wisconsin, and it is amazing how there is a lot of good relationship between both parts of the world, between Wisconsin and Nicaragua, because there is a lot of good relationship. There is the Wisconsin-Nicaraguan partner, for example, that support a lot Nicaraguan communities. But also in Nicaragua, Wisconsin is not the best place. They know about New York, Washington, Miami, Los Angeles, but Wisconsin is not in the radar, And also for people from Wisconsin, also Nicaragua is not in their radar. When I just arrived, I was doing my checking at the hotel. Where are you from? I'm from Nicaragua. And the guy looked at me. Where is Nicaragua? Well, he said, what, like, if I remember correctly, it's near to Brazil. It's now near to Brazil. And it is not, it's not the only person that had told me that during my few days here. I went to buy something at the mall, and the cashier also told me that. So it's like sound like we are connected, but really we are connected. It's a lot of support it's a lot of cities, Stephen Point, La Crosse, people from Eau Claire, that had supported a lot of Nicaraguan communities, sending fire trucks, sending education supplies, medical supplies. They create a learning center for women. They are supporting kids with sports supplies, with baseballs, basketball, soccer balls, using sports such as tool to tell kids that you have an opportunity. You have to study first, and you have to work hard. You can use a sport to support the other two, to support education, and support to study hard and work hard. You can be someone in life, you know. So down in Nicaragua, besides my work, I also do a motivational talking at a high school level, talking to kids, using sports such as tool to motivate them to do something better, you know, to think about education. Like Nelson Mandela used to say, you know, you want to change the world, use education like a weapon to change the world, but through education. So I love to teach. It's not because how much they pay me, because I found my full job. It's because I want to change life. You know, I want to change and to motivate children and young people. Get out of the street and go to school. Get out of the street and go to university. Get a degree. Make something for your own personal life, but also make benefits for your family. If you do that, you will do a lot of things for the community. If you get well, and your family get well, and the community also, you know, improve, it will be better for everybody. So that's really part of my outside my job. I think life has provided me a lot of things. God has blessed me, and I'm trying to return telling people that they need to do something.
That's wonderful, wonderful. Now, you've got a law degree and a master's of it. Did you sneak that in while you were doing all these other jobs?
Well, after I joined the U.S. Embassy in 2005, I have time to study law, and I graduated in 2009 from the law school. And I immediately started studying my master's degree in law as business advice. And I got my master's degree last December. I was the main student for the master's degree. I had to make the speech, the final speech.
Oh yes.
And I didn't tell my kids that I was doing that. So they sit down, and they were surprised to see me go to the stage and talk. I want also to teach them, you know, that they also have to work hard, to study hard. Yeah. And it was nice, you know. I have a firm, a law firm already, with another two classmates. So there's a lot of things to do. I don't know if I'm going to finish my life working like such as journalist or dealing with journalists. I'm not sure. But I'm just getting ready, you know, to have another options. You never know. And that's part of the idea, part of the projects.
So you haven't tried any cases in court?
I have it. I have it through the firm.
Oh.
Yeah. And I can advise people and do any documents that they want. I can do it too. Yeah.
Oh yes, yes. Who pays you when you go to the embassy?
Who pay me?
Yeah, you paid by the government, or?
Yeah, I'm working for the State Department.
Ah,
This is the State Department. All the embassy around the world belong to the State Department. So I'm somehow I am a U.S. employee in that sense.
well, let's see. So when you go back, you'll go back to the embassy and pick up where you left off?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. About your family, what are your children's ages?
Well, also there was it is an interesting story because my first son, Felix, born few days I traveled to the United States.
Oh,
And when I left Nicaragua on January 5th, he was at the hospital.
oh,
And I have to make the decision. It was my first son. And he was at the hospital with his mother. So I asked the doctors if they can allow me to see my son before I went to the airport. Because it was in critical situation, so and my ex-wife, my first wife at the time, told me, look, he's going to be okay. Just do what you have to do. See your son and go to the airport. And I did it. It was the best thing, in the sense that when I came to Claire, my sons get well, and I studied here, I graduated from here, and I got all the blessing after that, you know. It was hard. It is hard for a young single man to come to the United States because we are a different society. Our families are big families. It's not only dad, mother, and sons or daughter. And our families are grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, nephews, sons. That is a big family in one house. So to separate it is not easy.
I can see that.
But I had to do it. And it was the big decision.
Well, we're glad you did it,
Yeah.
and came up here to study at the UW Eau Claire.
I got a homesick, but I managed.
Our time is up. Thanks ever so much that you took time out of your stay here to be with us. From the Newsroom is produced by the Western Wisconsin Press Club in cooperation with Chippewa Valley Community TV. I'm Henry Lippold. Thanks for watching.
This program was recorded and presented by Chippewa Valley Community